All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to LiveStream Under the Moonshine, number 303. Tonight, guys, we continue my playthrough of the letter, this being part 11. And we know that in the last episode, part 10, it was kind of a shorter, I think around 45 minutes, where we got done with Zachary's point of view. And we were moving on to somebody else's point of view. I don't remember exactly who it was. Rebecca or something. Point of view, and we didn't start that because I didn't want to just barely start and then, stop. So let's go ahead and get back into the letter, guys. Again, this is LiveStream Under the Moonshine number 303. This is part 11 of our playthrough of this excellent horror visual novel, in my opinion. I think the writing's good. I love the sound effects. I absolutely love the art. And I think the writing is doing a good job of kind of keeping us on our toes. It hasn't been exactly super easy to predict, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get back in to this novel. Alright. Well, let's go ahead, before we get into this new perspective, let's go ahead and catch up on our journal, guys. Let's look at the relationships here. Marianne, I believe, is the new point of view we're going to take. So this is Marianne. Zachary, Isabella is through the roof on their relationship. Hannah, remember, we kind of made a choice for Hannah where she kind of destroyed the relationship when she flirted with Zachary too much. Zachary doesn't have a relationship with himself. Marianne, not that high with Zachary. I don't think they really know each other that well. Rebecca's pretty high. Ashton, his best friend, has gotten a little bit higher since they got in the big fight. And then Luke, the asshole that's married to Hannah, a little bit lower than his relationship with Hannah even. Speaking about Hannah, Isabella, not that much, even though Isabella sold her the mansion. They don't really have a tight relationship. We already talked about her and Zachary. Marianne and Hannah's pretty up there. Rebecca, Ashton, Luke. Look at how low her relationship is with her own husband. About half what it was at one point. So that definitely shows you their marriage is falling apart, at least right now. Isabella, she was the real estate agent who we started this whole shebang with. And she is best friends with Zachary. Look at that relationship. Like, couldn't be any higher. And then Ashton is another good friend of hers. Luke, she doesn't really know Luke that well. Yeah, and then Marianne, see where she's at with everybody before we get started on her. Marianne has a pretty good relationship with Luke. About the same as she has with Hannah. And Marianne, I believe she is like one of Hannah's and Luke's friends. If I remember right. I don't know, I guess we're going to find out more about her, guys. I think the last time we looked at her relationship, Marianne's relationship, or who she was, I think the last time we took her, we seen her talk much or whatever, it was months ago. So we're going to get back into Marianne. We'll learn more about her with this point of view, but let's go ahead and catch up on our journal. Alright, guys. Undiscovered. Okay. On Friday, October 21st, before going to Immigrant Mansion, Isabella Santos dropped by the St. Goretti High School to check on Rebecca Gels. The former reminded the latter to take the flu medicine before leaving. On the way to the mansion, Isabella received a phone call from Ashton Frey reminding her of Zachary Steele's movie premiere that night. And while looking for her co-missing co-agent, I think we already read all this. I feel like we already read all this. Yeah, we already read all this, guys. The new ones that start on October 25th. Yeah, here we go, new. Alright, so Zachary, frightened Isabella Santos, knocked on Zachary Steele's apartment in the middle of the night. Shaken, she refused to say what happened. Zachary let her stay regardless. Yeah, we remember that. And then the next day, or the same day, good morning. Zachary received a phone call from Ashton, who was looking for Isabella. Zachary informed him that she stayed over. And of the circumstances, before ending the call, Ashton offered to pick her up. Isabella saw Zachary taking an unknown medicine and, concerned, asked what it's for. He admitted suffering from trauma Ever since his parents were killed in a hate crime, Isabella could only offer him a comforting hug to lighten the mood. The two decided to cook breakfast afterwards. Tuesday, Ashton arrived to fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food was prepared. In the end, Ashton ended up staying and ate as well, and the Rice and Zach upcoming gig were a few topics touched during the talk over breakfast. Okay. New ones. Some of Hannah's shots from the photo shoot the day before came out distorted after Zachary developed them. He would have almost dismissed it as human error if he hadn't remembered a chilling memory from yesterday's shot. And this is where he had a picture of, like, Hannah, I believe, looking like that zombie thing. Disturbed, Zachary decided to show the photographs to Ashton during the lunch at the coffee house. They briefly discussed Zach's sister before the topic veered on the photos. Refusing to believe his friend, Ashton advised him to talk to Andrew instead, who is a psychologist. We remember that pretty well. Same day, Zachary met with Professor Andrew Clark at the library. The professor shared a few of his own favorite stories within the city, including a friend's research about his urban legends. When Zach showed Hannah's distorted photos, the professor only warned him not to look restless, and that some people deserve what's coming to them. Okay? And Friday, October 28th, Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. Yeah, so Marianne, I believe, is Hannah's, she's basically her interior decorator or whatever, I think. I think I remember that. So she's a friend, but she's also kind of like the person that does a lot of the, decor and stuff like that for Hannah in her new mansion. On a whim, Hannah asks for Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about after the latter excused herself from attending a party. Yeah, I think Marianne was very wise to not to go to that party. She probably felt that something was going to happen. The Wright mansion officially opened its doors with a grand housewarming feast. The Zachary Seal, Ashton Free, and Rebecca Gales were seen attending. However, what was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochwell Lee, the chief inspector's wife, accused Luke Wright of fathering her unborn child. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, a devastated Hannah was seen exiting the ballroom with Rebecca Gills and Zachary Steele. Hannah was left in care of the man when Rebecca had to go back to the party in search of Ashton. Now alone, the two had hot sex. I'm just kidding. Now alone, the two had a talk and were both smiling by the end of it. So see, I could have replaced that with hot sex. I could have, now alone, the two had hot sex, and that's a lot of times what happens when people have hot sex, right? A good sex, whatever. They're both smiling at the end of it. I think that was more. I'm not so sure that Hannah wouldn't have went there, but Zachary, no. Zachary wouldn't have any part of something like that. The next day, Saturday, October 29th, Zachary's nightmares became worse each passing day. To help clear his mind of the unwanted images, Zach took a visit to the park. There, he met the little girl Kylie Suarez, which we remember in I think it was the last episode or the episode before, a precious young girl studying at St. Goretti. On Saturday as well, upon returning to his apartment, Zachary was greeted by Ashton and Isabel. Now suspicious of what was happening, Ashton informed Zach that he and Isabella would try to get to the bottom of this whole thing. He also warned Zach to be careful. So during breakfast, Hannah asked Luke for a break. She'd be moving back into their penthouse for a couple of days. Despite trying to remain aloof, her husband accused her of wanting a divorce. Hannah insisted she simply just needed a break. Yeah, definitely not a good sign for their marriage. I agree with the breaking rings here. His ring, her ring, coming apart. Later Saturday, Hannah and Rebecca Gales, hoping to catch up with an old friend, called Rebecca Gales, hoping to catch up with an old friend. The talk got interrupted by a horrible clicking and the cry of a woman in the wine cellar. Yes, this is bringing back memories as well. I do remember this is where Hannah remembered she walked down into the cellar to find out if a woman was hurting or if somebody needed help because she heard the woman crying. So she went down there, I believe, trying to help. And instead the hatch closed and she couldn't get out and it was super dark under there. And I think she saw the the zombie thing, the thing. And remember, her husband saved her and was holding her in his arms. And I think that's the last time we really saw Hannah. Terrified Zachary went looking for Ashton in the Immigrant Mansion, but to no avail. He also tried to warn Luke Wright about the spirit supposedly living in the house, but was simply turned away. After hearing a crying woman, Zachary sneaked into the mansion, but was unfortunately spotted by the Wright's butler. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, I think, here. When Zachary finally regained consciousness after being knocked out, he found himself locked up in a precinct. A familiar woman gave him a little visit. Yeah, so things are definitely getting creepy here, guys, with the whole... I wanted to catch up with this journal because it had been a while since we read the journal, but things are definitely intensifying here with just everybody starting to see this crazy zombie, female zombie hit thing or whatever. The story is continuing. The writing is still really good. I feel like there's a lot of drama building. We have Hannah and Luke's marriage coming apart at the seams. We have Zachary coming apart at the seams, especially with his continued nightmares of his parents, being killed. And we know that, what's her name? Isabella. We know that Isabella, the first character that we played, we know she's been coming apart at the seams. She had the death of her best friend and fellow real estate agent. She died early in the visual novel. And yeah, now we're going to find out what happens with Marianne, and I'm sure things are going to be a little more dramatic than meets the eye with Marianne as well, just based on the way this visual novel has went. We just don't know a whole lot about her. We're just starting her point of view right now. So 7:15 p.m. The numbers are so little on the top of my screen, and they glare at me with such an intensity that I can just hear the accusations. I'm late for a night out with the girls. Yes, but I have a perfectly good excuse. Jeez. Considering I didn't follow typical office hours, they really can't expect me to be able to just go on as I please at 5:30 on the dot. The client is, first and foremost, my priority. I have to sit tight when my personal assistant, Chris, tells me that we have a big one coming up and that I shouldn't miss this one. He knows a lot more on the who's who and what's what than when it comes to these social fees, and I trust that judgment call. Exactly. I really don't have the time for rich people, their drama, or their politics. For these sort who were born with silver spoons in their mouths and who were used to wagering their silver tongues about. I let him handle the negotiating with them for the most part. Why else would I have hired him? But he told me that I'd receive a message about an hour ago.
Now, if only he has the full shilling when it comes to the time.
Yeah. Come on, I have a social life too, to an extent. Sort of. It almost sounds like she's trying to convince herself that she has a social life. Pressing my head against the table, I try to stave off the oncoming headache when the notification for a new email pops up. All I'm expecting is a hey, this looks like a good project I found. Go send them a design or something like that, really. That's how it often goes. Even with these rich, jammy clients who's heard of me from their equality rich, jammy friends, I can't expect them to hire me right off the bat. Which is all well and good and reasonable. We figure out what they want, send them my portfolio, my drafts for their projects, my rates, and hope for the best. This is a big client, Marianne. I'll babysit B. Ruthiel for you. So this is a big client, Marianne. I'll babysit. Please just take this one project. I promise this person is huge in Luxbourne. And this is coming from her boss, Chris. Just please take this one project. I promise this person is huge in Luxbourne. Mr. Parker, this is a formal request to secure the services of Marianne McCullough, hereinafter called the designer. as authorized by Hannah Wright, hereinafter called the client for interior design work at the Immigrant Mansion, Luxembourg, in the United Kingdom. The client hopes to have a designer there on the 21st of October, Friday, with a time pending. But as I open the mail and see that I've been requested by the client specifically, well, I certainly didn't expect that, and it's pretty straightforward as well. Anyone else would probably be very excited. They would be working with the Hannah Wright. And she's just one of those rich socialties that everybody loves to talk about, no matter how hard I try to tune out such nonsense. It would have been enough for me to reply in affirmative to Chris and just leave, but he has never pleaded with me to take a project before now. We've worked with big personalities in the past, celebrities, bankers, and even a few politicians. My PA had been indifferent about those. So the question bounced about my school before I spy one of the email attachments. A newspaper clipping from the Luxembourg Daily's business news section boasting the headline, Wright Enterprise donates $2.5 million to refugees. So that's why they realize they have a lot of money, and that's why this client is so important to him. This certainly caused quite a stir back then. Apparently, they had invited businessmen and socialities everywhere, in the guise of it being some big business announcement.
$2.5 million and an expensive-looking party to boot. These people sure know how to throw their money around.
So Marianne, looking at those relationships, Marianne and Hannah have developed a pretty good relationship for, just knowing each other a short time. Not that I should be so callous. They're going to do a lot of good and help a community of people with all these, all this money. I, of all people, shouldn't criticize such acts, whether they were for show or for not. And at the very least, I know they'll be able to pay my rates. With the headline out of the way, however, I find myself staring at the picture that came in along with that clipping. Because, wow. Here I am expecting a sour old woman in a blazer and a skirt. But the woman that was plastered on the front page looked like she belongs on the front page of the entertainment section, or even, if I am to be crass, as a pinup for a glamour. Never mind. Well, I'll be here. A men's magazine. Yep. Basically saying Hannah looks like she should be, on the centerfold for the Playboy magazine or whatever. She sure knows how to rock that dress. Wait. Her hair. Her eyes. Her lips. She can't be her. And at the same time, she is her, only several years older. She looks just like... No, come on, Mac. The world is full of pretty blondes. Oh, wow, did Marianne here have some kind of relationship with her or something? This is just a coincidence. Journal update. With a shake of my head, I snap out of it and reach out for my phone when it buzzes, nearly falling off my chair in the process. Who else would be on the other line but the very people waiting for me?
Oh, piss. I'm so sorry, Cam. I'm on my way.
And that's what I say. Yet I still don't move from my chair, face flushed and my heart racing. So it sounds like Marianne has some kind of a theme for Hannah. Let's look at this new journal entry and see what the journal entry says. Going back to the 18th of October, an email from the Wrights came requesting Marianne McCullough's expertise for their home. What seemed like an innocent commission made a different impact on the famous designer after seeing a picture of the Wright Mrs. And that's all it says. So if we look at Marianne, we see we have profiles now. So as we read the story, we're starting to read the profiles. Marianne, 30 years old, 5'11", so she's pretty tall. Roman Catholic, likes chocolate, education, Bachelor of Arts in Architecture, makes sense why she's an interior designer. She likes video games. She likes karaoke, board games, anime, and other obscure pop culture items, and yoga. Left in a dumpster as a baby, she was found by a peddler and spent most of her childhood roaming the countryside in a beat-up van. Her father taught her how to read, write, and pray. Through an unconventional life, it was all she knew. Child welfare and protection eventually caught on and required that she have a proper education. She was provided a scholarship at the St. Samthan School for Young Ladies and was bullied for being a charity kid. Marianne only had one friend and was mostly focused on her studies, intent on graduating and returning to her father, ashamed that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's soon after. Her work as an architect in Ireland lasted until the Irish economic crisis. She moved to England, and after some time, Luxembourg is in search of a better career for opportunities. So we have profiles here for Rebecca, Ashton, and Luke as well. So I assume we're going to get all three of their points of view as well, since we've already started with Isabella. We got her point of view. Then we went to Hannah. Then we went to Zachary, just in the order that is here in this journal. So Hannah's 31. And yeah. Zachary's 31. Isabella's 26. Okay. So anyway, Marianne is finding her heart racing and her face is flushed, thinking that Hannah is someone that she knew in the past. Interesting. This is what I'm talking about, guys. The writing is definitely continuing to keep me, it's continuing to be unpredictable. So, it's definitely a sign of good writing, especially when you're as many hours into this visual novel as I already am. I could only stare until I can will myself to reply the yes, I'm accepting the assignment. And it takes even more time for me to just close the image, shut down the computer, and leave. Even then, it has already burned its image into my head, no matter how much I wish it would just disappear. It makes me eager for the alcohol and the company. It makes me eager for anything that can help me forget. It's a good thing that the nearest pub is just a hop, skip, and a jump from here. Damn. So that night at the bar, the Galway Shawl, as it's called by those who frequented the place, is the only decent Irish pub in this whole country, or this whole county. You could pretty much tell that someone is new if they call it by its official name, the Crowbar. My home away from home ever since I moved to Luxembourg. But she's an alkie. Well, that is when I'm not cooped up in my condo and working away. It has good alcohol, good company, and thank God, and St. Cecilia, good music. Crowd favorites like the Bothy Noise, the High Wesley Band, and the Second Fusion Orchestra are often played here. Not to mention the singing. I love singing. Anyone could just break out into a drinking song, and the others in the pub were just wonderful that they start singing along. And doing so while intoxicated is the best way the best of ways to go about it. I can see that. I can see how that'd be a lot of fun. You get somebody in there singing, you get a band in there singing or whatever, and all these drunkards just start singing along with them. That could be pretty entertaining. Hey, it's a win-win as long as I don't puke in the middle of the chorus, and as long as I can get home in one piece at the end of the day. And tonight, it is karaoke night. What better time than to try and sing all my worries away? That's why my intoxicated brain tells me.
The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart, I was my only slave.
That's pretty good. But drinking only reminds me of my home, and the thought of home makes me think of her. I assume she's talking about Hannah. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
But in the depths of my cold soul, I'll leave the burden and despair.
It makes me nauseous. It sickens me that the smallest reminder of her can cause me such grief.
I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest.
Of course, that might just be the booze. Any other day, I would have scolded myself for drinking so much.
I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell.
But I already had a client, and we'll be having our first little meet and greet in just a few days.
Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you.
Love letter to you, huh?
'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true.
Aww, breaking my heart. I want to at least enjoy this night, get over the hangover tomorrow, and return to being a prim and proper professional after.
That song was for Cam, our lucky bride-to-be. So give her a hand, Galway shawl.
Considering the state I'm in, one can excuse my smug grin as cheers and applause rise among the pub's patrons. Because, possibly off-key public singing aside, I feel like I'm on top of the world right now. And that's a good reason, as any, to belt out the front door in front of these strangers. With good drinks and good friends, there's nowhere else I'd rather be tonight. And I forget for a short while.
And that song was brought to you by Marianne McCullough, everyone! A round of applause!
Yeah, it does sound like they're all having fun.
That was so good. You rock, Marianne.
Oh, please stop. You're just saying that.
I love the writing, I love the art, again, I love the music in the background. This is just a very, very good visual novel.
You know neither of us can hold a tune, Marianne. A toast to our shameless drunk singer. May your drinks forever flow and your notes be ever lovely.
If anyone deserves a toast tonight, that's Cam. Finally sealed the deal after 3 years, eh?
Read them and weep, bitches.
Camilla's diamond engagement ring gleams as she holds it up for all the world to see. She has reasons to be proud. 3 years of living together, and her boyfriend finally asked her the big question. Obviously, she said yes.
Don't get too attached to that ring or the one after, sweetie. I was wearing a wedding ring not so long ago, and look at where I am.
Oh, damn. Somebody always has to piss in the jug of lemonade, right? Somebody always has to be a party pooper.
But enough of me being a downer.
Exactly.
Cheers to a happy engagement!
There you go. Of course, if something like Haruna's divorce were to happen, I'd be there for Cam. Just as Cam had been there for me, acting more than just my yoga instructor. I can't be happier for my friend right now.
Cheers!
Cheers.
Well, we both will be there for Cam, won't we? Haruna and I. Haruna, it's been a real bad year for her ever since her divorce. She's such a nice person, even loaning me money to open a studio, and she didn't deserve what her husband had pulled. I'm happy she's smiling again and pigging out like she used to. I think we've all missed our Japanese firecracker. We met in yoga class, something I had joined to keep myself in shape and, well, honestly, so that I could make friends when I had moved to Luxembourg. Clearly, it worked out like a charm. And it definitely didn't have anything to do with the fact that I brought along my lucky D20 die with me on the first day. No, sir. So you can tell that Marianne's a gamer here because, I mean, she's talking about bringing a lucky D20 die. So that tells us right there that she's big into D&D or she likes Dungeons & Dragons. I love these girls so much.
What about you, Marianne? You're 30 years old and you still haven't got yourself a man.
And you guys know I have a very busy schedule. I don't have time for that.
Oh, come on. That's a lame excuse and you know it. You need a man who'll take care of you and you need it now. Maybe some hunk will be your house hubby while you rake in the dough.
I'm quite capable of taking care of myself. Who needs a Mr. Right?
Hey, look at me. I'm Marianne McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma, but I can't get myself a date.
And so I would think that there's a lot of women who would disagree with at least the wording that Marianne said. Who needs a Mr. Right? I think a lot of women want Mr. Right. Maybe not, I think she meant who needs a Mr. comma right. But no, she says who needs a Mr. Right. Yeah. So a Mr. Perfect, a Mr. Perfect for you. Yeah, I think there's a lot of women that are looking for that perfect guy for them. I mentioned droids and demons. Once. So this is obviously their way of saying Dungeons and Dragons without getting a copyright claim filed against them or whatever. Yeah, she's definitely talking about Dungeons and Dragons. I mentioned Dungeons and Dragons once. They don't even know the rules or understand what the numbers even mean. And I certainly am not some sort of holy person. I am a far cry from a miracle worker, and I barely have the willpower to fight off demons, especially my own.
Actually, maybe she isn't looking for a Mr. Right, but a Mrs. Right.
Oh, damn! Could it be? Yeah, there's obviously something there with Hannah.
Oh, my Marianne, we still love you even if you're in the closet.
That's funny.
That would explain some things. Howdy now, you don't have a ring anymore. Maybe you two can be together and I don't have to worry about my best girls being alone.
What are you on about? There's nothing to explain.
But the more I deny it, the louder they tease me until the other people in the pub start to watch. It doesn't help at all when Haruna drapes her arm over my shoulder and leans in.
Will I be all yours then? Will you be making me feel like a woman?
Wow. I know that they're just kidding around, but this doesn't make me comfortable in the slightest. So when Camilla notices my silence and Haruna sees the expression on my face, they stop. And when the awkward air settles over us, the rest of the pub goes back to whatever they were doing before the whole thing ever happened. They probably won't even remember it when they wake up with massive hangovers anyway.
Sorry.
Me too.
Hey, no hard feelings, right?
I raise my glass, and they smile, and we drink. There's no need to say any more. We're all definitely far too drunk tonight. Eventually, the fun times end, and it's a weekday after all. So with Haruna being a nurse, she has to get ready for her next shift. Pam also has a loving fiance waiting for her at home, and really didn't have to make a fuss about having left some of the buns in the oven when she took off early. Really, I do understand. I was the one who insisted, who was determined to get pissy drunk anyway. Moving to the bar, I sit, alone at last. Uh-oh. Alone with a stranger. Oh boy. I haven't seen him here before. Obviously not a regular. He hasn't said a word and just sits there, savoring his drink. And with his whiskey served neat in one hand and a lighter in the other, it doesn't seem like he's noticed me yet. And maybe I should go before he does look my way. Because he was pretty, and he was blonde. And those two things, plus alcohol, never did me any good. I thought too late. Uh-oh. Judging by the way his flushed face and the dazed look in his eyes, he's as pissed drunk as I am. But whereas I feel like kneeling over, he looks like he's still ready to take the catwalk by the storm. Really, he just has the air of one of those men who think they own the whole world.
Hello there, sexy.
Oh, wow.
Please don't stand up on my account. I already like what I see.
So, being intoxicated and using alcohol is no excuse for being married and going out to a bar and calling another female that isn't your wife sexy? So I'm just going to put that out there right now. So, I mean, we already knew this guy was a jackass, right? But, yeah, he's just proving it again and again.
Fancy a drink? It'll be on me.
But then again, I might be pleasantly surprised if he proves me wrong.
Want some between the sheets? Sex on the beach? I'm talking cocktails, of course.
Right. Fat chance. But it doesn't matter. We both know how to play this game. And there are two different ways for the night to end. One thing or another is going to happen. The question is, what do I want to do?
Oh no, that's fine. I'd rather order some blue balls or some AMF if you don't mind.
Oh, that's so good. He says maybe some sex on the beach or whatever. And she says, oh no, that's fine. I'd rather order some blue balls or some AMF if you don't mind. That's fucking hilarious. That's a slap in the face to him. How is he going to handle that? He looks like he's about to say some witty retort, but he stops himself and downs the rest of his whiskey. I order a mint julep. He gets another whiskey, and we start the customary small talk. Of course, the saying, ask me no questions and I tell you no lies, goes without saying. We ask nothing about each other, offering up falsehoods to establish a strenuous, fake connection between two strangers at a pub, if only to pass the time. Whiskey, as I have to come to call him, is supposedly 21 years old, single, takes care of a sick mother, and is a manager of some sort. Wow, nothing but absolute lies. He's not 21, he's definitely not single, he's married, he doesn't take care of a sick mother, and yeah, manager. Manager of what? I didn't care to listen to all the details. Meanwhile, Mint, as he has come to call me, is 29, and I'm... What did I say I was again? Oh yes, that's right, I told him I was a professional chocolate taster. Because fuck it, if I'm gonna lie about what my job is, I might as well make it fun, right? It's a pretty decent chat between two pretty drunk strangers. And maybe it's just me, but we might as fucking well extend the teeniest amount of effort in pretending there's something meaningful at all in this meeting. Would have been nice too, if it was just left at that. But during a lull in the conversation, he brings it up.
You know, I've never been with a woman taller than me.
Oh boy. And to think he might have been different from the rest.
Never have and never will, whiskey. Can we go back to the history of chocolates? Did you know that chocolate candy was introduced in 19th century England as a healthier alternative to alcohol?
St. Lucy was the most beautiful woman of her time. She had men come from the four corners of the world just to see the pure light of her exquisite green eyes. If she were so lucky anyway.
No, enough of the history lesson. Come on, Mint. You know and I know what you came here for.
Though not every suitor was gallant, and she was no fool. She had known that sooner or later she wouldn't be able to defend her chastity.
Come on. There must be something that gets you going.
So she had taken out a knife and gouged out her own eyes.
There is something, but I don't think you can handle it.
Oh wow. Impressed with her devotion, God restored her eyes and made them more beautiful than before. He has a peculiar sense of humor, hasn't he? Because that only meant suitors kept going after Lucy, and she kept her eyes in a chalice to scare them away.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever it is.
St. Lucy, help me. Help me turn away from sin tonight. Help me with my own blindness.
My place isn't too far from here. I won't take care of you if it ends up being too much for you. And no one will be able to hear you if you try to scream. You sure you want to go down that road, pretty boy?
wouldn't have it any other way.
Damn. Well, well. So this has gotten interesting. We didn't know that Marianne, Hannah's interior decorator, basically had wild, hot, crazy sex with a stranger she met in a bar that happened to be Hannah's own husband, Luke. And I would say that Luke, Hannah's husband, was the instigator in that whole thing. Both of them were drunk, but again, you guys can't blame the alcohol when you make sins like that, especially if you're married. And remember, he told her nothing but lies. For all she knew, I mean, she knew she was lying as well, so I'm sure she had a good suspicion that he was lying about being single, but I highly doubt she knew that this was Hannah's husband. The best thing about having my condo so close to the pub is the ease of access. As long as I can still stand and walk, I can make it home. Maybe I need help from a kind neighbor or two to help me with the last leg if I've really gone overboard on the alcohol. But I've always made it home. Sometimes, well, with company. Of course, that always comes with complications, especially with really clingy ones. But it isn't anything a good tip about stalkers to the building security can't fix. I'm always nervous though, even if it isn't the first time I've ever done this. And the first few minutes when we enter my room are the first few agonizing minutes where I try not to panic. Okay, Mac. So far, so good. Don't let him smell your fear under all that alcohol. Courage. He'll leave sooner or later, and I'll never have to see him again, just like every other man before him. I'd like to say to myself that the man I've brought to my place were more scared than I was. Yet there is no fear when I look into Whiskey's eyes, only delight. When he starts touching me, I don't even hesitate when I push him against the door. Roughness is to be expected. And as long as he sticks to the script, everything here is going to go smoothly. We'll have our little tumble in the sheets, he'll leave, we'll forget all about it. Damn. If somebody asked what I really wanted, I would have told them that I wanted a bed of roses, chocolates, and music, and maybe an Irish castle. But all I really want is her. And that's never going to be a reality. And that was my fault, of course. Because I was afraid. So this picture on the wall, this might be her and Hannah years ago. I think it might be. That makes sense. That would definitely fit into why she's so, acting the way she is and staring at the photo of Hannah for a long time and feeling her heart race and all that. She's saying it didn't happen because I was afraid. Because I was a coward. They would never hold a candle up to her, and she was the light of my life. And I had let her go. I can't even be bothered at the thought of her. Just a single thought of her makes my resolve to see this affair through waver.
Wait.
Oh boy, she's gonna stop things with her husband?
What is it now?
Yes, what is it now? Was it gonna be Marianne? To sex or not to sex? This is wrong? Or nothing? Never mind. So I feel like this right here is going to be one of those decisions. This visual novel does have, I don't know how many different endings it has, but I think if I remember right, it has 6 to 10 different endings, maybe 8. And I feel like this right here is going to be one of those decisions that's going to affect the ending. So, again, remember guys, I always try to not only make the choice that I feel like is the best choice, but in these visual novels, I always try to make a choice that I think is the more plausible choice for the character that we're talking about. We know that Marianne is drunk. We know that she likes blondes, obviously. We know that, you know, this guy's tempting to her. But with the feelings that just came up in her heart, and maybe with a picture on the wall even of her, and it looks like Hannah had a, you know, I'm surprised Luke here didn't notice that picture. And if that is a picture of her and Hannah from years ago, I think that would be exactly the wrong picture to have on your wall when you're trying to forget about a heartache or you're trying to forget about someone that's in your past. But I think here, guys, in this situation with her feelings coming up, and it sounds like intense feelings she used to have for Hannah, I think that Marianne is going to stop him. So we're going to have her say, this is wrong. We don't know if that's going to stop things from happening, but she's going to at least say, you know what, this is wrong.
We're both drunk.
Yeah.
And
he's like, what's the problem?
This is wrong.
And I think she's saying this not because she wouldn't do it with 100 other guys or she hasn't done it with 100 other guys before. But I do think she's doing it now because Hannah's come back into her picture. She's going to be meeting with her in a couple of days as her interior decorator. And feelings, obviously, from her heart are coming up and almost choking her up. So she has intense feelings for Hannah, it seems like. And I think that's why she's saying this is wrong. Not that she gives a damn about sinning.
Don't you think it's a bit fucked up that we're about to have sex and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had?
Yeah.
How messed up are we?
Doll, shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of the mood.
If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be best for you to sleep the night unless you want to be mugged. But I won't stop you. And this isn't going to happen.
Wow.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell. Achievement unlocked. Cock block. I like that achievement, cock block. Right here, guys, let's go ahead and catch up on the relationship status. Luke has went up, I think, so his relationship status is still pretty high, at least right now. I'm surprised Hannah isn't higher than that, to be honest. Interesting. Well, let's also go ahead and look at the journal. So, okay, where's the new one? Right here. Okay, the new one's right here. Marianne went to the Crawl Bar, also called the Gabway Shawl, by its patrons, for a night out with close friends, Cam and Harunu, and when they left, Marianne was seen with a stranger whom she only referred to as Whiskey. In turn, she was called Mint. Alright. And so we don't know what else happens after that. Okay, so Luke here is obviously frustrated being blue-balled and being, you know, right when he's ready to fucking pin her against the wall or against the bed or whatever. Yeah, now he has to do something with all those hormones pent up and ready to basically F her brains out. Of course, he's annoyed at me for putting off our night of sexual congress. But no does mean no. And that's a great point, guys. That is a fantastic point. Just because you're a man and you're worked up, even if a woman is doing everything, even if the woman is getting on her knees and, you know, teasing you with her tongue and putting you in the craziest of hormones and ready to pound her ridiculously hard. If she gets up or, you know, she thinks of an past ex or whatever the situation might be, if a woman says no, kind of the way Marianne did right here, no does mean no. And if you proceed and think you have the rights to do whatever you want in that situation, that's against the law. That is the R word. And you've got to be really careful with that. I think men, a lot of men, take no as yes in that situation. I've just been around long enough that I've heard it too many times that in that situation, men almost feel like they have the rights in that situation. When they're worked up or they're horny, they think they have the rights to get what they want. And that is not at all the truth. And I just want to go ahead and say that right here and right now. Anybody younger that might be listening and, you know, that might be thinking the wrong way in those situations. No doesn't mean no. And beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was worried for a moment that he might try to force something. Yeah, see? A lot of guys would, so I give Luke credit for that. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit and smoothing down his hair before making himself comfortable on the nearest seat he could find.
What are you doing then? You have a guest in your home. Put the damn kettle on. Dandelion tea if you have it. But I suppose all you have are those shitty tea bags from the store.
He's being an asshole right now, but I guess he's frustrated. Yeah, I think that a lot of men in this situation could probably get what they want, but the best way to do that would be to completely chill out, not have an angry voice, not be a complete asshole, and just chill out and, not leave, but just, be a good friend to her, listen to her, whatever. And they might get what they want. But being an asshole is definitely not going to get him where he wants to go. If it wasn't for the absurdity of all this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste. But in the end, I just laughed. All I got are cans of Korean ginseng and lemon balm, though. No dandelion. And without a second thought, I do wet the tea. It's 3 minutes to get a kettle to a boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to the guy I was going to sleep with until I changed my mind at the last minute? I doubt he's in the mood to talk about the influence of Troyes and Mallory. It's still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed with mugs of tea in hand.
Just so you know, whatever is going on right now is a lot stranger and fucked up than the one night stand.
Yeah, he might have a point there.
We are two messed up individuals by your logic.
Everything is messed up, if you ask me. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and loved lost. Oh.
Love lost. Yeah, I think you're hitting the wrong chord there with her to get what you want there, buddy.
This whole world is a cesspool.
Yeah, and you're part of it there, Luke. Cheating on your wife, I'm just saying. The dead air is telling when it fills the room once more. One would think that this is the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that had made us the fucked up person that we are today. And it is. But I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on somebody else's shoulder. It wouldn't be fair to leave that to a person, when I don't even know if we'll ever see each other again. Oh, I can tell you that you will see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left unforgotten on the floor. Alright. Well, it's going to be the next day now, guys, and this is ending about in perfect time. The plot thickens again with this part 11, guys, with this chapter here. And we are in the morning of October 19th. And when I wake, Whiskey is already gone, so we know he's already left, and that would be completely expected. It looks like nothing did happen. I'm kind of surprised with him laying in the bed. They were drunk, though, so if they hadn't been drunk, he might not have wound up there anyway. But, yeah, they were so damn drunk, they probably just passed out, and I'm kind of surprised that in the morning light, though, that he didn't make another attempt to get what he wanted. And I mean, I'm sure she's a beautiful woman. Just men's pride, everything like that. I'm really surprised that he didn't, try to slide his hand up her inner thigh or whatever, just laying on the same bed with her, or kiss on her neck or whatever, to get what he went there for. So maybe he did, but all we know is she wakes up and he's gone. So with that, guys, I do want to go ahead and say thank you for listening to me play Part 11, LiveStream in the Moonshine number 303. Guys, again, this is something that I didn't know happened, and this is what I'm talking about. The writing keeps throwing us curveballs and, throwing us unexpected things. I never expected this to be part of the whole plot and story of this horror visual novel. There is plenty of intrigue, and I feel like with everything that it just keeps building and building and building, I feel like we might be in for one really explosive ending in the letter. So we'll be back here, guys, in a few days with part 12 in LiveStream of the Moonshine number 304. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to rate my video, guys. If you're watching me on YouTube, I do want to thank you for listening, and I appreciate you being here and listening to my videos and my visual novel that I'm reading. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.